So this is Sarajevo, Bosnia. This is the main square in the old town. It's Marianne. It's got very Turkish influence through parts of it. It's I think something like 50% Muslim, and then I think they said 32% Catholic, and then something 16% Christian, and then the rest was just other. So it's yeah, it's got all faiths coexisting in one city, which is good to see in this part of the world. And you can see in the architecture the different influences. There's like, this is all very Turkish, and then if you head up to the west of town, there's this one little street where east meets west, and there's a marked line there, and you can see the Austro-Hungarian kind of architecture kick in. It's where you go to drink beers and whatnot up that side of town and go for partying and stuff. And if you want to have a coffee or come down and relax, you'd come to these little kind of more eastern cafes, and they're all kind of family owned businesses. It's a really cool, beautiful country actually. Very worth a visit if you're ever in this part of the world. They've got very interesting history, because they've been through so many different empires. There's like, currently walking through the main streets and the facades of the buildings, I'll see if I can find some. There's bullet holes from 1995 was when the last kind of unrest was in this area between, I think it was Serbia and Bosnia. And then they were part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire early on, the Ottoman Empire. This is the kind of Ottoman influence down this end. And there's like, yeah, massive, beautiful mosques here. There's also Catholic churches. It's a really cool place. Trying to see what pops out. This is also the location of where Ferdinand was assassinated, and which sparked World War I. There were, I think it was 7 assassins up and down this little street on the right here. I'm a bit far away from the exact spot where it happened, but if I walk around this corner I should be able to show you. Yeah, and it's surrounded by these hills, and there's these little villages in the hills. It's a beautiful, beautiful town. Probably the most interesting town we've visited on this trip. There's this river that runs down, very small river that runs down the middle. And yeah, down this road here, probably, I don't know, a kilometre or so is where Ferdinand was assassinated. This building, who built this? I think it was the Austrians, I'm pretty sure. We got told yesterday. But it's the town hall. Yeah, and there's the fort up on the hill there, if you can see that. And there's a ski lift up there as well. Best I go find Marianne before she gets lost. Anyway, this is, yeah, Sarajevo. So right here is where Ferdinand was assassinated by the Serbian Black Gloves, or Black Hands, I can't remember the exact name. That bloke there is who assassinated Ferdinand in 1914 and actually triggered World War I. And that's him being taken away right after assassinating Ferdinand in chains. That's the trial. He was put in prison, I think he was 17. And his friend was put in prison. They both died in there a year or two later. Yeah, the car stopped here and he came out with a handgun and shot Ferdinand's wife, and then the first shot missed entirely. So there's that plaque commemorating it, well, reminding people of where it is. And then just down here, so you can see that again, this is kind of interesting architecture. Let's take you around the corner here. Because there we've got the kind of spot where you can see 4 different types of architecture in this town all at once. There's a mosque just there, and so basically around this corner here, this here, it was called a hun, kind of like a caravan place where it was the people from Turkey and below could come, the traveling merchants were allowed to come here and stay in this caravan hotel for 3 days, not pay any rent and not pay any tax, effectively live for free for 3 days, and then they'd have to move on. But that was this area here. What's interesting here is, look, you got communist architecture, you got the Ottoman architecture here, you got new architecture, new age, and then down there you've got the Austro-Hungarian right next to it. This corner has all of it. So down there is your typical European, Western Europe architecture. Yes, the good old communist architecture, new age. And then this was the building, the foundations of it, where you could come for 3 days and it looked like this. And you could stay. They left their horses inside, around the inside, and they all stayed in the hotel bit around the outside. Interesting, hey? So yeah, this is a Catholic church. And these are what they call the Sarajevo roses, which were left, bullet holes left from the 1990s, that they coloured in with red paint, basically, to remind people of what went on here in the 90s, which I'll make a bit of a video. Oh, there's some bullet holes actually right in that facade there, all over it. So that's not as significant as I've seen on other places, but you might be able to see in this video big gouges and chunks out of it. So they're kind of all over the city, which, yeah, it's interesting. It was not that long ago that all that happened, and it's rebounded to this point where it's a very touristy, visitable place and people are very friendly here. So just where we are now, this is kind of a spot where east meets west. Somebody wants to say hello, little doggy. Friends. So if you have a look, this is probably the biggest point where it's pretty obvious. I think they're even making some meeting of cultures commemoration here. So if you look down there, that's all the Ottoman, Turkish kind of area. And then just here and up, Western European, definitely. So yeah, really cool city where you can find multiple cultures and religions and amazing history. It's a bummer I can't show you. There's also these awesome hillside kind of, oh, you can see a little bit up there. That's kind of the little suburbs in the hills, the beautiful spots. Visit Bosnia. So this is the center of town again. Legend has it, if you drink from this well, this is fresh Bosnian water from up in the hills, and they've got too much water in this country, and if you drink this water you will be back, is the legend. So yeah, they're those kind of hillside towns that surround Sarajevo. So pretty picturesque location. I'm sure they do skiing up there in the winter if it gets cold enough. There's ski lifts anyway. I don't know what the climate's like here in winter, to be honest. That's the tower of the Sacred Heart Church down there, and then you've got the mosque just there. And there's all the little twisty, windy streets that have amazing Bosnian coffee, and then there's a food they eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner, if I didn't mention it already. It's like a burek, or what we'd kind of know as a spanakopita, but it's like a roll. It's rather a sausage roll like spanakopita, and then we had it, obviously being vegan, we had it with potato or mushroom, but they generally have meat in it, and they have it served with sour cream on top, and they'll have it for breakfast, lunch or dinner. Very popular, it's pretty tasty as well. So just down at the base of that building there's a flame that's constantly lit, I guess commemorating the 90s. Remembrance flame, and then yeah, all along these building facades, so pretty good example here. There's like bullet holes. Mostly a lot of them down in the main old town have been patched up, but you can still see the patches. But yeah, all the major facades are all just covered in these bullet holes from the